Your YouTube videos are trash, and I'm going to help you with the 4 steps to improve them. So step number 1 is the hook. The hook is like the first 10 to 30 seconds of your video, and it's where most people will drop off. So most people will click on your video, but about 60% of people will literally leave in the first 30 seconds. This means that you'll have an outsized return of investment, like of your time and effort, spent on the first 30 seconds of your video than you will for any other part of the video. Do you get what this means? Like, basically, if you're going to put effort into anything, make it the first 30 seconds of the video. Then the question should be, okay, well, what does like a good hook look like? And through the seasons and the metas of YouTube over the few years, it's changed. It used to be like back in the day, you probably remember those kind of cringy videos where it would be someone who's acting a bit professional and they'd say like, here are the top 7 ways that you can fix X problem. And you get my point. It was like very professional. These days, you're seeing more of this like raw, authentic style where the guy might start the video and it's him like taking a breath, or it's him peacefully telling you a story, or you have like some guy with a coffee cup and he's like, hey guys, it's Will. And he takes like a sip and he's like edging you out. He's like, it's a surprise. It's special. It's curiosity inducing. That's what the hook needs to be. The hook of your videos needs to be, this is going to be a good analogy. It needs to have the same effect as your dating app pictures. So if you've ever used dating apps like Tinder, the best advice I can give you is have the kind of pictures that have the thumb stopping effect. If you're a guy, right? So this is how girls use Tinder. If you've never seen this, it's going to be so interesting. They're on their phone with guys and they just left swipe every guy. Then they see a guy who's pretty hot and they were already half left swiping him, but they kind of stop. They'll look through his pictures. Oh yeah, he's pretty hot. They'll show their girlfriends. They'll read his bio and then they'll left swipe him as well. And then they'll left swipe a few more guys. Then there's a guy who's really, really hot. Go through his pictures. They'll right swipe him, and like 75% of the time, they'll match. Your pictures are like the hook of your YouTube video. You need someone to stop the endless fucking dopamine of moving on to the next video and the next video and the next video, because there's so much competition. Just like there is in dating apps, there is so much competition on social media, on YouTube as well. So you need to have like the thumb stopping effect. On dating apps, if you're interested, that's a shirtless picture in front of the mirror where you wear a towel which is slightly pulled out. Like, I know too much autistic shit. I spent like years learning how to like get girls on dating apps, and it's so silly now when I look at it, but obviously when you're like 19 years old, that stuff feels important. Now, the equivalent of that on social media is something that is disturbing the meta. So if the meta, and meta means most effective tactic available, basically if the norm of the YouTube videos is super high production, where it starts off with this editing and it's like, zhoof, I put 17 pedophiles inside of a ring, and including one of my ex-employees, like, some Mr. Beast or some shit like that, high production with loads of editing and random fucking fireworks and hit markers and like that. Then if you're the kind of guy who starts his video and he's like, when I was 17 years old, do you see how that would be like a thumb-stopping effect? Because you're like, wow, that's different. That's so different from everything else. So that's one of the first things I want you to start to implement is think to yourself, how could you make the first 10 seconds of your video different from what is super popular right now? Because there's 2 ways you can compete with the guys who are at the top of your niche. So if you're in fitness, for example, you're looking at like, maybe Sam Sulek or maybe Jesse James West or, Jeff Nippard, like these guys who've got millions of subscribers. Have a look at what they're doing, the guys at the top of your niche, and see how you can differentiate yourself from that. Usually, most people at the top of the niche are those sort of high production, very professional kind of channels. And so you can usually get away with being the exact opposite, being a normal guy who presses record on his iPhone in his room, and you're kind of like slow and you're purposefully trying not to act like a YouTuber, like this like internet celebrity. You're just trying to act like a human being. More and more, you will see more people who are stepping into the low effort, low production, authentic, raw style content. So if you go into one of those niches, like for example, self-improvement, the journey of entering your 20s is becoming one of these like raw and unedited style niches. You might then want to consider having a high production intro, like I did with my Jeffrey Adonis intro. Like that was very different. Basically, no one had ever done that, where the intro of their video, their talking head video, was like an animation, a custom made animation of memes. No one had ever done that in the space. That's why I think we took off. Now, I want to give you an extra tip that this is just me speculating. I don't have data or evidence to prove that this works just yet, but I have a feeling like it does. There was a MrBeast podcast where he said that the hook needs to match the expectations that your viewer will have based on your title and thumbnail. Basically, you need to match the title and thumbnail with the first few seconds of your video. That's why I started this video with me basically holding this up, which was like the thumbnail. Like the thumbnail of this video you saw was literally my face like this. And the title of this video will be something like "Your YouTube Videos Suck." And I literally said the title out in the first few seconds while showing like me in the thumbnail position. I have a feeling like matching the thumbnail and title in the first 5 seconds of your video will be really powerful, especially for guys who are like small YouTubers, because no one really trusts you. And so when someone clicks on your channel, they're probably watching it for the first time. And when you basically within the first 5 seconds have shown them that the title and the thumbnail are literally like part of the video, they get this kind of exhale, like this sigh of relief of like, oh yeah, it's not some clickbaiting little asshole who's gonna waste my time. He's actually gonna talk about why I clicked on this video. So the action step for you is think about the first 5 seconds of your video, make that the thumbnail and the title, if that makes sense. So imagine if like your video is how to bulk in the gym and gain mass. You will literally say that in the first 5 seconds of the video. Here's how to bulk and gain mass. That will be the first words you say in the video. Whatever the thumbnail is going to be of your video, have that as the first 5 seconds of the video as well. So for example, if the thumbnail of your video is going to be you shirtless in front of the mirror taking a picture like this, you could literally start your video there. Does that make sense? Like that'll be the thumbnail of your video, which is like you in the mirror shirtless picture. But you could literally press record and that could be the hook of your video, which is you shirtless recording the thumbnail and saying, here's how to bulk to gain mass. Does that make sense? Like you saw that if you just need a bit more of a clarity here, just rewatch the first 5 seconds of this video to see exactly how I did that. This is just me speculating, but I have an idea that might be really good for your retention, like for how long people watch your videos, especially when they don't trust you when you're a small YouTuber. So once you've got your hook out of the way, the second thing that I want you to focus on to improve your YouTube videos to stop them from being trash is to create binge-worthy content. Today's viewer does not just watch a specific video. Very little people actually intentionally watch content these days. Like how often are you to actually search on, let's say, Instagram? Like when was the last time you went onto Instagram and you searched like bulking? If you watch any Instagram reels, you'll just find them, right? The algorithm suggests it to you. The same with YouTube. Way less people are using YouTube search. They just will want some mindless entertainment. So when they go onto their YouTube homepage, they've got some selection of videos. People aren't really searching intentionally for content. They're just mindlessly being recommended whatever they get from the algorithm. That means that for you to drive up how much someone has engaged on your channel and how much they've watched of you, what you want is a ton of videos, basically your entire channel, which is exactly the same. Imagine this. Imagine we're watching a TV show like Friends or South Park or some shit. All the episodes are very, very, what's the word? Like they're very repetitive. You watch Friends, right? Friends was like that, like reality or whatever the fuck, like this TV show of these people in New York. And it starts off with the same theme song as always. It starts off with the same song as always. It usually starts off in the same set, like the same scene as always, where they're all in the coffee shop. It usually then has the same kind of sort of bullet point structure format, where one character will walk in and disturb the peace and says something crazy is happening, and then two characters will have a misunderstanding, and then they'll make up, and then the main problem will be solved right at the end, and then everyone's happy. They've got like the same kind of like hero's journey arc over and over and over again, over again, over again, over again, over again. Imagine if you clicked on another episode, like the next episode, right? We've just watched 3 episodes of this TV show. And imagine in the next one, they're all speaking Japanese. and they're all black and they're in a different country. And it's not a coffee shop, it's like a fucking, it's the Bop House from Instagram or some shit, right? Imagine if you just widely just changed it. Imagine you click on a Hamza video and this motherfucker just went from Jeffrey to Adonis to unedited long video and then back to Jeffrey and Adonis. And then, weird, like if you keep changing up the format, you destroy the binge worthiness of your content. So basically, make content that is incredibly repetitive, particularly the format. So the things you say should somewhat change every time, right? So if you're making a no-fap video today and then another one in a few days, give a little bit of different advice, a different story, whatever. But the format, the structure, for example, the editing style, the length of the video, the energy you have, the personality you have, that should stay consistent because people like to feel comfortable. Why TV shows are so binge-worthy is because they take the viewer through the same emotional pattern at the same times, basically in every episode. Think about it. Like it starts off with a curiosity loop of like, the character came in and they've got some kind of problem. There's some like humorous thing here, 2 minutes in. Then there's like a sad bit. Then there's like, curiosity slightly increasing for the next 10 minutes whilst the storyline is building up. Then there's arguments, there's emotional, there's manipulation and sadness and lies and there's all this, and then there's like the resolve which brings you back down. You want to induce the same emotional pattern, like the emotional sort of like ups and downs to your viewer over and over and over again. If you make a video that's 10 minutes and super motivational and epic, and it's got like, the soundtrack, which makes it super epic, and you talk in a really nice way, and it's edited with a ton of B-roll, and it gets a lot of views. That viewer who's watching that is thinking, wow, this guy's content is so good, I'm so hyped up. He clicks on your next video, and it's a 1 hour, unedited, just kind of like, oh, hey, I'm not a YouTuber, I'm just a human being kind of thing, I'm just relaxing, I'm talking in my bedroom. His emotional pattern is just going to go, oh shit, like, oh, this is weird. This is like a good time for me to stop watching this content. You keep people in a trance when you just keep them through the same kind of frequency. So that means basically keep your content so repetitive on each channel. This is why you've seen me make a ton of new channels recently, because you want to have a YouTube channel which has only the same kind of content, relatively the same video length, the same editing style, the same thumbnail style, the same kind of personality, the same depth and level of the words that you use, the level of education. You keep it consistent per channel. If you want to have different channels for then different styles of like editing, by all means, I think that's a great idea. That's why I have my beginners channel, which is way more edited. This one has basically no edits, and I keep in the times that I stutter and mumble the words. I keep in some times where I need to like think through my words or whatever. And that means that every one of these videos that you click on, you're more likely to click on another one because it will serve you and keep you into the same emotional pattern. So think about your YouTube channel right now. If we clicked on one of your videos and then clicked on another one, are they basically the same? Not the words you're saying, like not the context, but the pattern, the editing style, the length, the personality. Are they the same, or have you drastically changed it because of like, you're currently experimenting? I think experimentation is good, but once you've got something that is sustainable, it's pretty enjoyable for you to record, and it's performing kind of well, then I'd suggest just fucking stick with it and stop uploading anything that disturbs that emotional pattern. Like think about how weirdly disappointing it would be. You're in the middle of watching like some TV series, and halfway through a season, one of the episodes is just completely different. Imagine it was like half the length or a quarter of the length. Imagine if it was just an entire like montage with music. One of the episodes, it would just feel like way weird, right? It would kind of disturb the piece. You want every episode to have the same theme song, to have the same rough length, to have the same editing style. Imagine you're watching like Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones, and one of the episodes randomly has just got like way more editing and sound effects, and you're like, oh, that's just weird as fuck. And then the other one's like just 3 times as long with no editing, and the characters are like stuttering their words, and you're seeing behind the scenes, and it's like a different perspective. The camera angle is like slightly different. Or if you watch like you know, like cartoons or anime or something. I don't, but like imagine, like when I was a kid, I used to watch like cartoons. Imagine if like the cartoon, like the drawing, the artistic style was different. Like imagine if in The Simpsons, it's the usual The Simpsons, you know, kind of drawing, and then it was like, I don't know, oil painting style the next time, or it was super HD the next time, then low quality. It'd be like, it just kind of destroys this comfort of binge watching content. So ask yourself, are you destroying that right now because of too much over optimization? Just pick one of the things and stick with it. So the editing style, the video length, the personality that you're showing, and stick with it for that channel. If you really, really want to have another type of like a format, like for example, you want to have an edited channel and an unedited channel, which is what I do, then by all means go ahead and create a new channel and put the editing, like, you know, the different things there. What I don't want to see is on your channel, there's some videos which are super high quality, high effort, they've got really good editing, tons of shots and everything, and then the other one is like a raw 30 minutes unfiltered front camera on your phone, unedited, of you just speaking. Have one channel for those unedited videos like I've got here, and one channel for those higher effort, higher production things. I've been playing with the idea of making films, like having like a cameraman, and, you know, I write up like a proper script and it's like deep and I voice it over with music and everything. And I wouldn't put it here, right? Because even though you might still find it interesting, I wouldn't put it here on this channel because it would disturb the flow that we've got. I would put it up on a separate channel, maybe like my main channel, because it's somewhere where it actually deserves to be, where it won't interrupt. It won't be like the pattern interrupt. Does this make sense? So I particularly noticed this on Instagram. I scroll Instagram every now and then, like it happens to all of us. But when I find a creator who makes like a really nice reel, I often see if they're following this format. And I promise you, every single time I see someone whose reel has popped off and I go onto their Instagram page and I see that they follow this and all their reels is basically the same kind of like energy, the same format where, you know, it's like B-roll with text on the screen and they're voicing something over or something. Those pages blow up like crazy. But every single time it's someone who's changing their sort of style, where one time it's like a really motivational, edited, high effort reel, then it's like a, you know, low key kind of one. It's very hard to want to follow someone like that and watch more of their content because you don't know what the fuck you're getting, right? It's like if you're eating some food, you're eating steak, for example, you're taking bites of steak. Imagine if just one piece of it was just way harder than the rest. It'd just be kind of weird, right? You want basically the entire steak to have the same kind of texture and temperature. Imagine if one piece you had was just oddly cold. You wouldn't think, oh, that variety is nice. It'd be like, oh, that's fucking weird. You'd be looking at it like, oh, that's weird. If one piece of it was just way darker than the rest, you'd throw it away, right? With fruit, when you notice with fruit, it's got like a little blemish. It's like, that's enough for us to think, oh yeah, it's a bit gross. When the fruit is perfect and it's the same all over and the steak is cooked evenly, that's when we like it more. We like consistency. Now, the steak can be different between steaks in different companies, but from the same company, we want the same thing over and over again. From the same channel, like the channel that you've got, your viewers want the same thing over and over again. Why? Because people these days watch YouTube for comfort, even educational content. People just live stressful lives, and most people are just like viewers and consumers. They want to come back home from school and from work, and they're moderately depressed, and they just want comfort. They want to, like, you know, they've got their food ready, they're tired. They just want to watch the same fucking like predictable thing that you post all the time. They don't want a surprise. They don't want to click on one of your videos and it's super short that day and you fucked up their routine because your videos are usually 30 minutes long. If your videos are usually 30 minutes long, fucking keep them usually 30 minutes long. Don't be cute and have a fucking 3-minute montage or some weird shit on one day. Always keep it the same. This will skyrocket the session watch time for your channel. The third reason why your YouTube videos are pretty trash, but we can make them better, is what I wrote here, Q to Q. When you're first starting off, you need quantity. So quantity, volume, is way better than quality. Any beginner who talks about quality over quantity is usually delusional and kind of unintelligent, even though they like to believe that they are intelligent. There's no such thing as quality when you first start off. It's just quantity, it's reps, it's volume. But this is where most people are stuck from what I've seen with my students and some friends that I've got who are trying to grow on YouTube. They do the quantity. They post 50 videos, 100 videos, but they've got like 100 subscribers. And then they ask me like, oh, Hamza, my channel's not really growing, but I post every day. And I say to them, well, yeah, because you're still acting like an amateur. Now you haven't improved your videos for the last like 4 weeks straight. There's been no improvements whatsoever. What improvement can you tell me that you've made? Like, yeah, you've made videos, you got video ideas and you've made them. Okay, sure. It's like showing up to the gym. Congratulations. Showing up to the gym is impressive when you're a fat fuck or a skinny little bitch. Once you've been going to the gym for like a month straight, 2 months straight, just you showing up the next day is not special. Like, you've got to understand, I'm one of the few people who'll ever fucking fucking bitch slap you with the truth. Just showing up is not impressive. Like, yeah, when you're a retard, like when you're a fucking like little idiot, yeah, sure, showing up is impressive when it's your first session in the gym. Okay, fine. Congratulations. Your first video, okay, sure. But once you've posted 25 videos in the last like few weeks, you posting the 26th one is not going to have me saying like, oh, congratulations, bro. It's like, yeah, motherfucking now your 26th one, make it better, right? Like, you shouldn't have needed me to tell you this. Come on. The good news with this is like, now that you know, I bet you're thinking like, oh yeah, fair enough. Like I've just been mindlessly posting content. I haven't actually had that sort of Kaizen kind of mindset. Like, what can I make better? So the next video you record, instead of just busting the video out for the schedule that you've got, ask yourself, it's not just about making the video. How are you making this video better? What's the intention behind this video? Are you going to speak in a certain kind of way? Is your hook going to be a certain kind of way? Are you going to get yourself like in this pre-recording charismatic warm-up where you're smiling and you're happy, or whatever energy you need for your videos? What is it that is the intention for when you sit down to record? It could have been that you scripted it longer and you've put in more effort into that. It could have been that you went out to record a ton of B-roll to edit on top of your video. It could have been that you practiced your hook 5 times before you even pressed recording. It could have been that you really thought, okay, like for 20 minutes, you thought, okay, what's the best hook for this? And you write out like 20 variants of the word for word hook that you could say. What's the best title for this? I'm going to go and experiment. I'm going to go online and go find videos that are similar and find titles that have performed well. What's the intention when you record? Most guys at this level, it's like they post consistently. Congratulations, okay, nice. But that was like impressive months ago. Are you getting better? Or are you just a fat ass who's just showing up to the gym? You know how most people make progress in the gym for the first 1 year and then they basically don't make any more gains after that? Everyone likes to blame it on noob gains, but it's not. It's just that the first few months that you went, the intention was, okay, you have to show up. That's like the sort of progressive overload. But then people just stay there and they're just trying to show up. No, to make gains continuously, it's not just about showing up. It's like now you're thinking, oh yeah, that mind muscle connection focus. I'm really gonna focus on my hamstrings for this one. Oh yeah, I saw a video about bench press technique, and the guy said to focus on your biceps squeezing together for a better squeeze for the chest. I'm gonna focus on that for my bench press sets. Oh yeah, someone said you've got to train harder to failure. I'm gonna go and make sure I get a spotter and really try and get to failure and like hold it there in the stretch position for a few seconds. Do you see how like you need that intention to become a pro? When you're an amateur, you just try and show up and just show up to the gym, just make some videos. That's it. That's what amateurs do. And amateurs deserve to have the same number of subscribers that you have, because you've just been in amateur mode. Like, what do you expect me to say? I'm not going to be nice to you in these videos. What do you expect me to say? You're just blindly posting some content and then you're kind of upset like the growth is slow. There's someone who spends like literally 100 times more time and intention on their video than you do. So do you deserve the success? Before you go and record your next video, go spend half an hour, just sit around and think, okay, what's the intention that would make this video 5% better? Okay, I'm gonna write out 10 different hooks and say them out loud and practice them. You know, the first like sentence that I'm gonna say, the first 2-3 sentences. And then I'll choose one of them, which I think is like most captivating. I'll practice saying it out loud, and also the pronunciation, like the sort of the vocal tonality of the words, to see, okay, should I say it louder? Should I say it quicker? I'm going to practice all of them. I might even record all of them and see which one seems the best to me. That's intention. I might go and watch videos that are similar and go notice the thumbnails that everyone's got and make my own version of some of the most popular ones. Do you see how it's that intention that will take your videos from quantity, which is what you've got locked in now? If you're watching this, most likely you're posting fairly consistently, but we need it to become quality. So as an experiment, this could be when you want to change some things with your schedule. A lot of people will ask me at this point, they'll say like, oh, should I post once a week to increase the quality? And my answer to that is actually usually no. The reason why is because you've already got the binge format, right? You've already got like your sort of upload schedule and it's all good. Chances are, if you're watching this, you've got way more free time in your day than you realize. In fact, just before this video, you would have agreed with me when I said to you, like, you've got enough free time and you want to do more work, but you just don't know what work to do, right? Because basically every young guy that I help says the exact same thing to me. Hamza, I want more results in my work. I've got time to do it, but I just don't know what else is even worth doing. You agree. Don't even fucking lie, even if you're in school or whatever. We all waste like an hour a day. I would consider myself to be an ultra productive person. I still waste easily 1 to 2 hours a day. So for you, it's probably more like 3 to 5 hours a day that you're wasting. And if you watch my productivity style videos, you'll know like how to save that time. All that to say, I would suggest right now, don't get cute and say, oh yeah, so I'll change my upload schedule and I'll make it just higher quality, because that's a fucking cope. I'm telling you, that's a fucking cope. Keep the exact same upload schedule that you've got, but just make it higher quality anyway. I know for a fact that you've got time in your day, so don't bullshit yourself and act like you don't. Just go spend half an hour before you record, really thinking to yourself, okay, how can I make this video better? How should I speak in the first 30 seconds? What advice should I give? Really write it out. And then now the fourth thing, which is the reason why your videos are just kind of crappy, but the good news is you can fix this, is it's just because of you. Honestly, it's just because of you. Sometimes people ask me like, oh, Hamza, like, I don't really get many views on my videos. I get like 0 views. And I try and say it in the nicest way possible, but I'll say it to you in just like a kind of rude way. Yeah, because watching your videos isn't worth anyone's time. Why would I watch you talk about bulking when like your physique isn't even that good? Why would I watch you, like, whatever videos you're making, like how to quit fapping, when like you still jack off like every week? You're not that credible. Your achievements aren't that amazing. So this is the special one, because instead of you feeling like a small dick, like I'm getting all insecure right now, thinking, yeah, he's right, I should just give up. This should make you smile and give you hope, because the beauty of YouTube and the beauty of personal branding in an online business like this is that if you're doing more than about 1 to 2 hours of work a day, like if you're doing more than about 10 hours of work a week, you're just coping. I'm telling you right now, if you're doing more than 10 hours of work a week in this business model where, for example, you post content and then you sell like a digital product, you're wasting time. I'm telling you right now, you're just fucking around. You're literally just doing bullshit, honestly. For 10 hours a week is fucking nothing, right? So what do I, Hamza, I've got so much free time, what do I spend it on? On you. If you want business results as a YouTuber, influencer, personal brand who then sells a digital product like a school community or a course, focus on you. I'm going to spend ages on this, right? That's the lesson. If you want to click off, I don't mind. But like for the guys who really want to take this seriously, let me just like open up. This is so powerful. You don't realize how great of a business model we're in. I'm genuinely saying 1 hour, let's say 2 hours per day of work is genuinely excessive in this business. Even if you've got hundreds of customers in like a course or community, even if you've got a Discord server to run, even if you're doing free calls with people, even if you're posting content every day, I'm telling you right now, 1 hour of work a day is often excessive for this business model. Like you should be able to work maybe about 2 to 3 days a week, 2 hours-ish a time. Sometimes I'll work for like 35 minutes, I'll make like a video. And other times I won't work for like 3 days because there's basically no fucking work to do. I've stacked content for the next like month there's not much more work for me to do right now. Then of course you'll have sprints, like it's like, oh sweet, I could make this product, I could add this into my paid product, I could do this other thing, okay sweet, then I'll grind out like 4 hours one morning. But I'm telling you right now, this business model of like selling a digital info product like education and posting social media content, genuinely 10 hours a week is so excessive. Like I'm telling you, genuinely 4 hours a week, you could like maximize the results of your business here. And that's of actual work, like for example, pressing record on the camera, speaking, uploading it, whatever. Anything more than that is often just a waste, and it's often just, it shows like a lack of intelligence in the entrepreneur. So a lot of guys will say like, oh, but I edit a video for like 10 hours straight. And I just think, bro, I'm like, if you edit like that, it's probably not worth it. Either one, if you can afford to get an editor ASAP, go ahead, do it. Or two, the video format that you're running with right now is probably not going to give you the ROI that you need in your business. By all means, if you want to be like a creative artist, but that's separate. We're talking about just cold-hearted business here. That means that if, for example, we're only going to work for, let's say, about 8 hours a week, we have so much free time and will and desire for more results in life because we are ambitious, high testosterone young men who want to achieve things. You'll often think of business things that you can do, and you'll just create cope work. You'll start trying to reply to everyone in the comments. By the way, it does fucking nothing for your business results. You'll start going on Instagram and replying to the people there who message you. Doesn't really do anything. You know, those things are very minor. You want to do them whilst you're shitting on the toilet, go ahead. But they're not like real business work. The real business work is basically record the content, which I've got behind me here. Record content, make content, and post it on the platforms. And then when you eventually make a paid product, make the product, which might take you a good few hours to, make the course or whatever you're going to sell, and then just kind of maintain it. That's it. Like genuinely, an hour a day is often excessive, honestly. It's fucking crazy to say that, right? The rest of the time, put it into you. Put it into your self-improvement. And I want to make this super clear to you. If you keep your mind only obsessed over business goals, like how much money you want to make, and you watch entrepreneurs who are obsessed with money, like all the guys you see who are popping off, you'll often just sit around and not do real, actual, more work because there's no much more work to be done. But you'll often slack in your own self-improvement journey, which then you win nothing. What I mean by this is, if you are obsessed over money and business, you might actually make less money and grow your business less than the version of you that just checks off the essential work that you need to do and obsesses over not this monetary goal, like you want to make 10K a month or you want to hit 100,000 subscribers, but rather you just think, okay, like what's the best version of me? Let me work on that, even if it doesn't have like a direct increase to your business. Because for me personally, I really want to explain this to you because this lesson means a lot to me, and I'm telling you, this is why I became successful, and this is why I feel like I plateaued over the last year or so, is when I obsess too much over business, and when you will in this business model, you basically will improve yourself less. When you improve yourself less, your personal brand grows less. Why? Because all of this advice that you're giving out, the education you're giving out, is all about you. We are not in a business like a company which actually benefits from us grinding work. By work, again, I mean the specific, okay, make the content, make the product. That's all you have to fucking do is make content for the platforms and then make the product. That's all you have to do. So literally 4 hours a week is fucking excessive. Like 4 hours a week is probably about perfect for this business model. Anywhere from like 4 to 8 hours a week is about perfect. Anything more than that, and basically you're taking away from your own self-improvement journey, the holes. If we were all in a video game, we've got like character levels, like strength and love and health and whatever. You're taking away from those other things. You're basically gaining the max amount of XP per hour per week in this business when you're working a few hours a week. But anything more than that, you're not going to gain any more experience in this skill of this business, but you're not going to then grow as much in the other things that in a weird way put a multiplier onto the business. Does this make sense? So for example, you'll see on guys online who talk about like, oh yeah, morning routines aren't, they're all gay, they're all silly and stuff. The guy who says that to you is a fucking natural. The guy who says that to you, his brain works well. If you're like a retard like me, you can't overlook this. If you're a retard like me, you need every advantage you can get. When you don't meditate, you'll burn your fucking business to the ground. Right? I'm talking from fucking experience. When you don't meditate, you'll make shitty decisions. When you don't journal, you'll make shitty decisions. You'll flip flop and you'll change your content style. So for a guy like me, I need every advantage I can get. And here's the thing. Why wouldn't you act like this? Some guys like to believe that they don't need to level up their self-improvement. And that is fine for those people who are in more conventional businesses and careers, because they can just work more to make more money. There's not much more work that you and I can do in this kind of business that's going to make us more money. And so if we work more, we basically gain fucking nothing. In fact, we often will reverse some of our business results because we're just fucking around and changing things. Like you've seen with me, I changed so much shit about my business in the last year. I lost money because I worked too much. The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss is a book you should read like 3 times a year. I'm going to say that again. Write it fucking down if you've not read this book. And if you have read this book a few months ago, read it again. The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. Buy the physical copy and put it next to your fucking bed. Put it, like, get another copy, put it on your fucking computer or whatever. Read that book like it's your Bible. Take it into bed with you. I'm telling you right now, the 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss, for this business model, for you basically posting content, and then you want to sell an online program, a course, training routine, school, community, whatever, you literally don't need to do much more than 4 hours a week. Then the question, like as a side point that I want to just help you answer is, yeah, but like, what do I do with my time then? Like, I've got so much more time and I want more business results. Isn't there like another business I can do or whatever? This business can make you millions of dollars a year in profit in a very purposeful, educational way that helps the world. So don't disregard and think like, oh, I'll go start a new business or whatever. Get this business, like content and digital product, to a few $1 million a year profit first, which you're nowhere close to, before you consider anything else. Okay. Some people will like always bring up stupid shit to me, like, oh, like I'm going to start investing. I'm going to look into that. I'm going to start trading. I'm going to start this. No. At least make $1 million a year profit in this fucking easy ass business model first before you ADHD split your attention away. And the way that you'll get your $1 million a year profit in about 2 to 3 years from now, do the essential 4 hours-ish of work. Focus on some of these things, like, you know, the hook and the binge format and everything. But I wouldn't say that like much of that actually requires much work time. Like, it only takes you like, you know, the few minutes that we spent talking about the binge format for you to now stick with it for months or whatever, right? So the only work you have to do is the essential work. And for all of the rest of your time, think about the holes in your character, like in your video game character, in your self-improvements. Like the way that you speak like a bitch. You speak with like this vocal tonality, which shows everyone that you are submissive. That's a reason why you're not growing in this business. So if you want more business results than just what you're getting from doing the work, do the work in you, do the inner work. That's what's also like a kind of multiplier or a divider of your business results. You want to know why Iman Gaji and Alex Hamosi have blown up so much and they make so much money from their personal brands? It's not because of the videos that they make. It's because they are fucking god-tier entrepreneurs. They are fucking amazing at what they do. And so that's why their channels have blown up. That's why they'll do so well in this business model. The reason why you aren't doing well, the reason why you seem like such an amateur and you get like 100 views per video, is because you are not that amazing just yet. You're not that credible just yet. You don't even respect yourself that much yet. You don't have that energy that other people want to be, right? So make the content, work on this. But what's your life look like? You want to know a secret? Let me tell you a secret about like personal branding, social media content. People subscribe to you and they follow you when they want to be you. Many viewers and consumers won't admit this, but that's when you click on subscribe or follow, like people won't admit this, but you basically think like, oh yeah, this guy's higher status than me. I would probably trade lives with him. This will make people uncomfortable, and everyone watching this is going to say like, no, that's not true. I wouldn't trade lives with him. No. But it's the truth. I'm just telling you right now, it's the truth. That's why the people who are living attractive lifestyles, the people who have the kind of energy that like is so charismatic, they're the people who are popping off because people want to be like them. Okay, fine, you might not press a button to swap lives with them, but you see something in their lives that you want. You see the wealth that they've got, the lifestyle. You see all this with Andrew Tate and Dan Bilzerian and Iman Gadzhi, that kind of like wealth plus girls lifestyle. Then you see it with Alex Hormozi, which is like this grind and super, super successful, but like, leave it all on the field, hard work grind. And that's still inspiring. A lot of people still look up to that. So ask yourself, who would want to be you? Who would want to trade their life with you? Basically no one. Because the life you live is the same as, no offense, like I don't mean to be horrible, but it's the same as every fucking loser young man's out there, right? Okay, you live at home with your parents. You either have no car or a shitty car. You think you're pretty good with girls, but there's like basically no girl who would fuck you today, even though you like to believe that there is. There's no girl you could message who would fuck you today. And it's easy for you to say, hey, yeah, but I'm a Muslim, yeah, but I'm this. No. But either way, there's no girl who actually wants you. So you are literally one of the lowest status young men that you could possibly be, and you're wondering why your fitness videos are getting like 70 views. Here's a news flash for you. Your credibility in the niche of your content doesn't fucking matter. There's people with amazing physiques and they get no views. There's people with like mid-tier physiques and they get millions of views. There's people who are shit at business, but they get a ton of content, they get a ton of views and engagement, and then their business blows up. And there's people who are amazing at business and nobody gives a fuck. The credibility that you have in your niche doesn't really matter. Like, for example, with me, with like self-improvement, I have a psychology degree, but it doesn't fucking matter, right? But there's people who have studied like addictions for 20 fucking years. How many followers do they have? Fucking none. But an angry brown guy who keeps showing his like muscles on the YouTube channel, I popped off like fucking crazy on the self-improvement niche, because it's not about your credibility in the niche. It's about you. Do people want your personality, the way that you talk, the way that you look, the beliefs that you have about yourself? Do people want to trade that with you? When I was blowing up on YouTube in the self-improvement niche, and I was talking about, get away from the bad habits, do the good habits, the young men were inspired by the way that I was speaking, because I was the one like young man who was like abrasively loud and showing like that sort of like, I fucking, I've done it, I'm arrogant with it. And as much as people say, oh yeah, arrogance is all bad and stuff, but so many young guys would have loved to be able to talk like that. That's why, one of the reasons why I did so well, and that's what's missing from you, is like, you talk like a bitch, you live like a bitch, your voice sounds like a bitch, your viewer might watch, but the thing is, watching someone for education and advice is boring as fuck. They're not watching for education, they're watching for inspiration. It's not that they just want like a little tactic from you, it's that they want to basically swap parts of their life with the person that they're watching. But if they wouldn't swap any part of their life with you, then they're not gonna stay and watch. So what does this practically mean? There's two things. Practically, realistically, logically, improve your life in the ways that your target avatar would want to swap with. But that's difficult. I'm not saying to go and be, some degenerate and you need to go make money and live this like materialistic lifestyle. But for example, because your dream avatar might be different. My avatar is not the guy who wants to be materialistic. It's the guy who wants like a bit of this sort of primal masculinity. And that's the way that I live my life. And I didn't actually construct that on purpose to achieve, to attract this kind of like avatar. I just lived this life anyway. I was living this gritty, disciplined life where I was going outside and training in the dark, in the rain, in the cold, and even when the park was flooding, just because that's what I wanted to do. That's what I knew was good for me. And it just turned out that that was like inspiring to the guys who had lived that sort of like, mommy's boy video game kind of lifestyle, when they saw me shouting about my muscles and my strength and like this, like that sort of alpha male traits. That was inspiring to a lot of people. So that there's one thing, which is, okay, go and do these things in real life, create this part of your life in actual fact. But here's the easier way. Create the perceivement of this in your vocal tonality, in your body language and your self-beliefs. There's so many guys who should be losers, but just because they see themselves as winners and they talk like winners, other people treat them like winners and now they're rich and successful. So do you even if you don't have a massive dick, act like you've got one. Act like your floppy dick, like your non-erection dick, is fucking like 7 inches fucking thick Coke can. Act like that's like your dick size. How fucking confident you'd be, the way you'd talk with that deeper part of your voice, the way you'd look into the camera, the way that even if you stuttered, you wouldn't silently get kind of insecure because you've got a massive fucking log of a penis, right? I know that sounds silly, but you get my point. Act like you've got a massive fucking dick, even if you don't, because that's the kind of personality that men want to trade with, especially young, ambitious men. Now, you might be in a completely different niche where that's not attractive, but for most guys that I've helped who are in the sort of fitness niche, self-improvement, no-fap, young men, dating, whatever, it's all the same kind of energy that young men would want to trade with. Is this kind of like, yeah, like, you know, he's loud and he's sure of himself. He's not that little timid boy who's getting bullied in school. He's the fucking loud guy. He's the one who's holding eye contact with people, who's speaking with his hands. If you can't, or if you can create that into reality with your lifestyle, with your personality, go ahead and do it. But the easier and faster way is to just act like it when you press record. So this is like a bit of like, it's playing like a bit of a character, right? It's not like we're pretending to be people that we're not. We're just kind of highlighting the part of us that we know is pretty attractive to people that comes out anyway. Like, one of the things that I always hear from people who meet me in person is I'm exactly the same on and off camera. But that doesn't mean that when you meet me in real life that I'm going to be shouting at you and saying, yeah, stop being a fucking pussy and do this. Because you might have caught me in one of those moods where I'm laughing and I'm being goofy, just as sometimes I am on camera as well. But sometimes on camera, I'm angry and I'm serious and I'm making a good point, and, you know, I'm like this, I'm like getting angry. And sometimes you'll see me in person and I'll be like that, and I'll be ranting about something that like young men do or something that's wrong with the world. So I know the part of me that the viewer likes to see, because it's exhilarating for someone to watch that part of me, you know, the loud, abrasive style. And so then I try and purposefully put that energy on when it is appropriate for the videos. So there is like the actual logical reality of our lives and who we are. And that's something with our self-improvement journey that over years we develop. But there's just creating the perceivement, like, you know, like being perceived as the guy. And that is something that you can click your fingers today. You can hype up the bit of energy inside of you that you know your viewers would want. Now, very quick disclaimer, it might not always be the Coke can dick, you know, the personality I'm talking about, the sort of loud, like angry, kind of certain version of you. For example, I have a couple of guys who make content for Muslims. And so if, for example, you're trying to attract like humble guys and it's trying to be like, you know, a bit more slower and softer, you might not want to be shouting on camera and swearing and acting all loud and stuff, because then people will be, your avatar will be watching it thinking, wait, that goes against the sort of, you know, the image that I actually wanted to be like. So you need to know what kind of guy you're trying to attract. I'm trying to attract like immigrant-minded young men who have got like a bone to pick with the world, with the people who treated them wrongly in high school, who have got this fucking aggression that when you put your earphones in and you go to the gym, sometimes you're thinking dark thoughts about those motherfuckers who doubted you, the girl who hurt you, who didn't want to be with you or whatever. I'm trying to attract those guys. So when I'm in this like, you know, aggressive, like flow state energy, I know those guys are almost captivated by this energy because they want to be able to talk like this. You need to figure out who you're trying to attract and then speak in that way and basically make sure you're being perceived as the upper echelon of that group of people now, just by the way that you speak. Engage on this video, do all the YouTube algorithm stuff. Thank you. Goodbye.